So have you ever noticed that the second you want to make a change for the better, life throws all of these curveballs? You start going to the gym, but then you get sick. You want to start saving more money, but then life throws all of these unexpected bills. You want to start being more productive, but your family and friends are leaning on you a little bit more than usual. What if I told you that this is not a coincidence, but it's a law that is guaranteed to happen every single time? And if you aren't prepared for it, you're just going to struggle just like everybody else. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to overcome those disruptions and live the life you were created for. Now, I've been studying discipline and what it means to be disciplined and how to be the person that I want to become for over a decade now. But something I've learned in my journey is that there is always a dip that trails the doing of something new. You know, I like how Myron Golden says it. He says, disruption always follows intention. Now, what that means is anytime you intend to make a change for the better, because I don't know anybody that intends to make a change for the worse. They may unintentionally make a change for the worse, but I don't know anybody that's intentionally making a change for the worse. So anytime you make a change for the better, you're always going to be faced with some sort of resistance. Life is going to throw you curveballs, something to hold you back. It's what I like to call the dip factor. Because in order to get to your destiny, you have to go through the dip. Now, here's an illustration I want to show you that is going to help us visually understand what happens anytime we go to make a change. And the dip factor says there is always a dip that trails the doing of something new. Now, it doesn't say sometimes. It doesn't say every now and then. It doesn't say occasionally. It doesn't say if you're black, if you're white, if you're rich, if you're poor. But it says always. Always a dip that trails the doing of something new. Now, why does this happen? It happens because anytime you go to make a change for the better, you trigger a battle between two forces. You trigger a battle between who you are and who you want to become. Who you are is a consistency of your habits, your beliefs, your ideas, the behaviors, everything that makes up who you are today. Who you want to become is the habits, beliefs, and ideas that you want to have in order to become something more. And you trigger that battle between those two forces. Now, the gap between those two forces is where the dip happens. You got to understand, our brain is a system in search of consistency. It's always trying to keep us safe. And the way it keeps us safe is by conserving energy. So therefore, it's always looking for repeated behaviors to make automatic. So it craves consistency. It craves what is familiar. Our brain doesn't know the difference between what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right, what's good, what's bad, what's constructive, what's destructive. So our brain is always looking for repeated behaviors, right? What you do in repetition will be your life's condition. It's always looking for repeated behavior. So when you say, I want to make a change for the better, your brain doesn't know the difference. It doesn't say, oh, you want to get in shape. You want to start being more productive. You want to educate yourself. It doesn't think that way. Your brain says, we've been doing this for a long time. I've already did the work to make this an automatic response. So therefore, I want to stay this way. I'm comfortable. I'm cool. I'm chilling. So that's what your brain says over here. And you trigger that battle between that person you want to become and that place you want to go and who you are today. So there's a certain level of resistance between those two forces that you trigger. So you're technically in a battle of reframing because you're reframing your familiar. You're reframing what your brain sees as familiar. So let's start from the beginning. So what you'll see here at New Start, what you'll see is that what you'll see here at New Start is there is a slight incline. Everybody knows that it's easier to go downhill than it is to go uphill. And the reason you see this slight incline here is because of one reason. This is where fear is. Fear of what? We have fear of the unknown. As everybody knows, one of the most hardest things for people is to get started. because you're full of fear. You're full of the unknown. You don't know what you don't know. So this is where people start to tell themselves negative stories to prevent themselves from getting started, to keep themselves on the sideline. And many times it's unconscious. Many times it's unintentional. They'll say things to themselves like, I don't want to go to the gym because everybody's going to be looking at me. I'm going to be the only person out of shape and they're going to know what I'm not doing. Number one, that is one of the most ridiculous ideas out there. And people really think this. You don't go to the gym in shape so everybody can look at you and compliment you on how good you look. But you go to the gym out of shape so you can get in shape. You don't go to the gym starting off strong. You go to the gym weak so you can get strong. And then you keep going to the gym so you can stay strong. You keep going to the gym so you can stay in shape. Fear of the unknown. People think that others are going to be looking at them at the gym and going to know that they don't know what they're doing. Not the case at all. It's all in the mind. It's all in the stories that they're telling themselves. People will say, I don't want to put my money into the market. Or if I put my money into the market, I'm going to lose all my money. If I put my money into crypto, into Bitcoin, I'm going to lose all my money. Not always the case. But these are just stories that we're telling ourselves to keep ourselves on the sideline. So that's why you see this slight increase right here. But what you'll notice is right after that, it starts trending down. Now, this is where we're full of hope. This is where we're full of excitement. This is where we like the person that we're becoming. Right? Excitement. This is where we're like the person that we're becoming. We've made a little progress. We've got off the sidelines. We understand the language a little bit. We've been going to the gym for a week, 2 weeks, and we have our little routine going. We're feeling good about who we're becoming. This is when all of that starts to happen. That's why it's, like I said, it's easier to go down than it is to go up. So you're building a little bit of momentum here. You're feeling good about yourself. But as we know, there is always a dip that trails the doing. So what is a dip? A dip is three things. A dip is a distraction, a disruption, or a deterrent. Distraction, disruption, deterrent. This is when our old identity, who we are today, has a thought. And it says, I've been noticing that he's been thinking about this new identity a lot. I've been noticing that she's been spending a lot of time with this new identity. And I don't like it. That's when your old identity gets a little jealous. It's like, I've been noticing that they don't spend as much time with me as they used to. I've been noticing they've been blocking my phone calls, blocking my thoughts. All of these things that I'm throwing their way. So your old identity gets jealous, so it sends things to as resistance to get you to come back, home. We'll call it that. And it does it in the form of a dip. And a dip, a distraction, a disruption, a deterrent. What is a distraction? A distraction is often things that are not obvious. These are little small things. It usually starts off small. Small as in urgent tasks. Quick favors for a family or a friend. Anything that's going to take your attention and focus off of who you're becoming and the place you're working to go. Distraction. They're not always obvious. They're always very subtle. You're working 30 minutes straight, writing a book, working on schoolwork, doing a paper, studying, reading, studying on finances, educating yourself. Then your phone rings. Or you get a text message from a friend. You gotta remember, your old identity knows who you are. It knows the things that you like. It knows what things to throw your way. So it's like, I know what to send them. He or she likes to get memes from their best friend because they're always funny. So you've been working for 30 minutes and then your phone goes off and you're like, subconsciously, well, I've been working for 30 minutes. I can take this little break here. Then you take a little break. You open your phone. Funny meme. funny Instagram reel. But as we all know, just like a potato chip, you can't eat one, just can't eat one. You got to keep scrolling. You scroll past that one, you scroll past another one. Next thing you know, 5-10 minutes later, you're still scrolling through reels. But a fun fact that I've heard, and I hope I get this correct, is that I read that on average, when we're taken out of rhythm, taken out of focus, and distracted, it takes us, don't quote me on this number, but it was around 21 minutes to refocus. Think about that. If you've been working for 30 minutes straight, locked in, and then somebody sends you a Instagram reel, and then you get thrown off track for 5 minutes, on average, it takes the average person 21 minutes to refocus. That 30 minutes you just put in of work just got erased. It's just like someone who is dieting for a week straight. They ate clean all week, no cheat meals, went to the gym. Then the weekend comes and they blow their whole diet. You just erased your whole week. So our old identity is seeing little things in the form of a distraction. What's next? A disruption. A disruption is like the next level. Your old identity sitting back like, okay, the distraction didn't work, but I got something a little more. I got a little more heat on this one. They'll send a disruption. Disruption is like the next level. This is where it'll give you things that'll take you out of rhythm, take you out of momentum. For instance, I ran my first marathon last year in December. And keep in mind, I'm not a runner, or I wasn't a runner. I was a lifter. When I would do my cardio and diet, I would walk on the treadmill. I would walk on the Stairmaster. I can't remember the last time I did run. So I downloaded the training plan, went to the experts, followed how I was supposed to follow my training plan. I gave myself about 6 months to train up for this marathon. And understanding discipline, understanding when you're working to do something new, there's always going to be a dip somewhere. Don't know what form, don't know how it's going to come, don't know at what level I'm going to experience my dip, but I knew it was going to come. So week 1 goes by, training, everything's going well. Week 2, training's going well. Month 1 completed. Month 2 completed. Then I get to month 3, boom, injury. Now I've studied everything that I need to study. I did everything I was supposed to do to work up to the marathon, the way I was supposed to do it. I didn't overload myself. I took my time in gradually increasing my plan. But one thing I didn't account for was running form. I figured running is just running. That's all I got to get out there. I've been running since I was little. But little did I know, form is important. And I end up getting shin splints that took me out of the game for about 5 weeks. That is what is called a disruption. That's something that takes away your momentum, that takes away your rhythm. These are things that just throw you completely off track. And these are things that will make you question if you really want to continue. Disruption. Then the last one is a deterrent. This one your identity is like, your old identity. It's like, okay, those two didn't work. Now I got to really bring the heat. Now I got to really step it up. Now it gives you things to try to discourage you. These are the things that people go through in business when their business is on the brink of bankruptcy. These are things when their relationships start to experience some turmoil. When people say, oh, you've been acting different because you're changing. You don't hang out with us no more. You don't do the things that we used to do. You acting brand new. What, you think you too good for us? You know, these are those type of things. These are deterrents. Things that try to discourage you from going toward that place that you're going. You got to remember, your identity understands what you like, what scares you. It's been living with you for a long time because the person that you are today, you built over time. You didn't build it overnight. So it understands. And you got to work through those battles. Distraction, disruption, deterrent. Now, how do we overcome the dip? And you only overcome the dip with one word: momentum. Momentum is the key to making it through the dip. It's going to be the easiest and the quickest way to get you through the dip. Now, how do we build momentum? Number one is you want to expect the dip. Those who expect the dip prepare for it. But those who don't expect the dip, they're usually paralyzed by it. See, when you don't know what's coming and when you don't know what to expect, it's harder to anticipate. For example, if someone says, I'm about to punch you in your stomach in about 3 seconds, and I'm going to give you a countdown. There's 3 things you can do. You can run, you can punch them first, or you can tighten up and eat it. But it doesn't matter which of those you choose. It's a lot easier when you know it's coming versus when you don't and somebody sucker punches you. It's the same thing with the dip. When you're expecting the dip to happen and you're on the lookout, because you gotta understand, you haven't fully became that person that you're working to become. You're reframing your familiar. So the more steps you take toward what is familiar and who you want to become, the closer you become to that person. So you always have to be on the lookout. You have to expect the dip. You have to expect these distractions, these disruptions, things to deter you from reaching that goal or that person you want to become. And it's not always obvious. So if it's not always obvious, with some people, they'll end up back to the starting line, not even realizing that they're back at the starting line. Or not even realizing that they're just running in place, stuck at the bottom of the dip. Because they weren't expecting it and they're having these little distractions, these subtle distractions. Quick favor for a family or friend, a quick text message that throw you off a rhythm with the things you're working on. A quick outing, a quick dinner with a friend, family, whatever. When you do all of those little things and not realizing that these are distractions, disruptions, deterrents, then you don't know how to prepare for them. You don't know that you're being set back and losing momentum in the process. So you want to expect the dip. Number 2 is you want to prioritize progress over the problem. Now, many people live in the illusion that the problem is the dip. But the problem is not the dip. Typically, the problem is the perspective, because most people see the problem as the dip when the problem is an opportunity for growth. The problem is the perspective because they're looking at the dip as an obstacle and not an opportunity. The priority here is your identity and who you're becoming. Every step you take toward that identity moves you closer to that person and reframes your brain and retrains your brain to what is familiar. So every step you take puts you closer to that person. So if you can overcome this challenge right now, if you can overcome this distraction right now, this disruption, this deterrent, it moves you closer to that person that you're seeking to become. But many people think the problem is the dip. But the problem isn't the dip. The problem is their perspective. Problems provide the greatest opportunity to becoming a person of value. You see, a weightlifter doesn't get strong by avoiding heavy weight. They get strong by lifting the heavy weight. So you don't become better and you don't reach that version of yourself that you're working to become by avoiding the dip, by complaining about the dip, but it's by focusing on progress and focusing on the person you're becoming, focusing on your identity versus the thing you think is the problem. So you want to prioritize progress over the problem. Number 3 is you want to elevate your environment. As I always say, environment is the most powerful influence in the world. Environment is the easiest way to make a change, the easiest way to build momentum. And you just make it so much easier on yourself when you're set up in an environment to win. I've never met anyone who has been able to stay in a negative environment with positive habits over the long term. They always submit unconsciously not even realizing it, to that negative environment. So environment is the most powerful influence in the world. It's either going to pull you forward or it's going to hold you back. Our power is in choosing our environment, not in changing our environment. So you don't go into a negative environment thinking you're going to be the dominant and the one to make change, if that environment is already dominated by weakness and mediocrity. You don't go into a strong environment and keep your weak and mediocrity habits. Either it's going to cast you out, or you're going to change your environment, or you're going to change yourself to fit with what is the dominant. Environment is the most powerful influence in the world. So you want to evaluate the people, right, you're around. Are the people helping you to grow? Are these people challenging you, challenging your beliefs, elevating how you think, what you think about, helping you to grow as a person in your character, helping you to grow in your finances, helping you to grow in your relationships? Or are they questioning why you're changing? Or are they questioning why are you acting different? Or are they questioning either your loyalty or questioning your changes that you're making internally? You got to evaluate those things. Number two, you want to evaluate the places that you go. It's very simple. Is this place empowering or disempowering? Is this place helping me to live up to my potential, or is it causing me to live below my potential? Is it putting me in situations of temptation, of weakness, of things that's going to create chaos in my life? Are the places that I'm going helping me or hindering me? You have to evaluate these things. And the last one is patterns. Now, patterns not necessarily an external environment, but pattern is an internal environment. Your beliefs, your behaviors, the things that you think about, right? We have internal patterns. And these internal patterns may be something as simple as soon as you wake up, checking your phone, being on social media. A person that checks their phone and is on social media first thing in the morning, their day looks different. Their entire day looks different than a person who wakes up and goes to the gym. A person who wakes up and prays. A person who wakes up and meditates. A person who wakes up and reads something that is empowering. Something to set their day off right. A person who just wakes up and sits in silence and just allow their mind to think. Two totally different days. But for many people, that is a pattern. That is a routine. So you have to evaluate those things, and you want to elevate those things that's going to help you to become that person that you're seeking to become. So if you can build the momentum by doing those three things, then there is no doubt that you're going to reach the destiny that you're after. No doubt. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got value out of this video. I hope you understood this illustration. And also, I got a book out called Winning Within. I do not have it near me right now, but it is up there in the back. So Winning Within, How to Win the War Between Greatness and Mediocrity, currently available on Amazon. Thank you for all the people that have supported me thus far, supported the book. I hope you get value out of it. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you share this with somebody also you feel might be able to benefit from this content. And I will catch y'all in the next video.